Lab number 229. In this lab we continue development of our Hello Paris mobile application, and right now we will focus on translation text to text, so from English language to French language. For doing that we will use Watson service on Bluemix, and you should already complete the prerequisite lab, which is number 16, where you will create a Bluemix account. So I assume you've already done that. If not, please go and complete lab number 16. And now we'll basically go to Bluemix and register a new app and new service. So you need to enter your credentials and press sign in. And this will lead to Bluemix console. So we should be able to see the dashboard pretty soon. And what we will do next, we will go to catalog. And we will need to create the new mobile application. For that we will use actually Node.js SDK. We won't create the application itself, we just need to get actually the credentials. This is the purpose, so you can enter any name, but I suggest to enter something reasonable. Let's try something like Hello Paris, like this. Okay, this name is already occupied, so I will use something like test1. Hello Paris, test1. Okay, so my app is ready. Then we will go back to catalog and actually use the Watson service. We will use machine translation service and we will assign it to our Hello Paris mobile app. Yeah, we need to agree to restage. Well, I will go and run it manually. Probably the reason is that I tried to restage it when it wasn't started. So let me restart it manually. But the thing that I was trying to achieve is actually this one. So I need to have credentials, and those are the things that I need. Actually, you will have here different credentials that you will need to copy, and we will use them in our adapter. So first of all, in order to use this service, we will actually need to create an adapter. We will use HTTP adapter as the basics for creation and connection to this service. So let's start. Let's open the console and navigate back to root folder of our project, and using command mfp.adapter we will create the adapter. Let's name it something like Watson service, just like that, and we will use HTTP adapter. We don't need JSON store for now, we don't need USSD enablement, just the simple adapter, nothing special. So what it will actually do, inside the adapter folder it will create the folder called Watson service, and we will have the adapter prepared there. So our adapter has a quite simple structure. We have the XML file with our configuration. So actually the domain that we will start and try calling the protocol, timeouts and everything like that, then procedure names, and procedures are described actually in the second file, JS file, and then we have the filter XSL, which is example how to filter replies with XLT. So we don't need that. We'll remove it actually. Within the Watson service itself, we will be using a different domain. So as you probably see here, the domain will be with HTTPS protocol, and this is the domain itself. So let's go back and pass this information. Port will be 443. Let's remove the procedures. Here we'll have only one. Let's call it translate. Then let's go to our JS file. We can leave, for example, this get stories and remove everything else. It will be quite simple, just like that. So we're constructing a path here. Just it will be in a bit different way. We'll have text as an input parameter, text in English. And as an input parameter, we will need to actually do a bit more, because we will need to pass the headers with credentials. So we'll need to create those credentials, and basically we'll do it by opening the browser and looking for something like base 64. So the idea here is that we'll need we'll need to encode this. Just put here the username, then double dots and password. And of course, instead of username and password, you should have those values from Bluemix. And then press encode and copy the thing that you had at the end inside your JS file. Construction should look like this. Let's create credentials that will be equal actually to this thing that we just encoded, and then we can construct the header. So it will be quite simple. The idea is that we need just to say that methods will be basic. Then we need to include the space after basic and add our credentials here. And that's all. So that's all that we need to do to pass the header. But we also need to construct the paths appropriately to have the service working. So the idea how to construct it can be get it from docs, of course. Each and everything has its own documentation. The same with machine translation service, Watson service. You can have the full API reference of machine translation. And here we can see that the method is post. The thing that we need to call is actually the service with version 1. And we need to pass several parameters like SID, it's translation direction, so from English US to French. Text will be actually our text. And then RT is the format. So we'll need to pass all of that. And text must be encoded as UTF-8, so we should encode it also, but it's not an issue. So let's do it. Basically, let's construct the path. We will have something like, first of all, the URL of the service. So in our case, it's machine translation, but then this API v1 smt/0, and then actually the things that we need to pass. So SID, it will be MT in US to French. Then the second thing is text. Then we will need to pass our input parameters, so we'll use it encode URI for that, just like this, plus we will have our RT equal to text to be able to understand that this is text. So this is how it looks. And the method should be post, of course. Just like this. So I will close my JS file because I will replace the credentials with the real ones from myself, so I don't want to share it over the internet. But for you, that's all. You just can follow me with building and deploying the adapter. So we need to do mfp build and deploy from our root directory of our workspace. It will build and deploy the adapter, and we will be able to invoke it to try if it's working or not. Okay, so we have it deployed. Let's use command mfp invoke to try to invoke our adapter. We'll pass some parameter, let's say something like goodbye. It should translate as it should translate this text to adieu. So we'll see. Yep, we are having some reply. And this is our translation. Unfortunately, it uses the capital A, and this is how the service is working. So we'll need to apply some kind of filter to remove the capital letter in order everything to be lowercase. But we will do it from the client side, of course. So next step is to do the same from our controller. So we'll try to call this adapter, and of course we will need to do it from text to text function. So actually the idea is to use Worklight's client interface. Of course we can use REST API, but because we are testing it in the browser, and REST API for now is working only for iOS and Android, I mean in real devices, and I don't want to use the real device or emulator right now. I want to test in the browser. We will use the old style API, well client's invoke procedure, to actually call the adapter. So this will look like this. Invoke procedure, we will have of course adapter name, and in our case the adapter name is Watson service. Like this. Then the procedure name, and in our case procedure is translate. And then we will need to pass parameters. So parameters, in our case it will be only one parameter, it will be text that we actually got as an input parameter for this specific function. And then we will also create two callbacks. So one will be actually on success, and second one will be on failure. And we will work with response in both of the options. So the idea is that if something will happen either wrong, either good, we will go to those callbacks, and we'll be able to kind of work with response. And because of the uppercase in the first letter, we'll need to do a bit of logic here. So we'll create a temporary variable, let's call it temp text, something like this. and this will be assigned to our response invocation result. So just as we had it here, so invocation result, and then inside the text we have our adieu, so we need to access it in the same way. So invocation result, text, and then we can select, for example, on the first character. So we can select like char add 0 and put it to lowercase, and then what we can do, we can add to that actually again response invocation result text without this first character. Just like this. So again, what it will do, it will firstly select on the first character and put it to lowercase, and then it will add to that lowercase first character rest of the word or words, maybe sentences without this first character. So that's it, it's pretty much simple. Actually, I don't even think we need this temporary variable, so let's assign it to French text directly. Yeah, just like this. So I would like also to log the response. And we will log it if something goes wrong. And we will log all response here. So then actually I can remove this thing and put, of course, well, those three actually inside my onSuccess callback. So right after I will assign the French text. And just like this. So actually it should perform a translation for me, and if everything will be successful, display the result, and then actually it will go to play sound that we will need to work on in a bit later stage. So I will save this, and let's do build and deploy and test how our app is performing. Okay, our app is built and deployed. Let's launch the host browser, try to refresh the app and see how it will work. So let's try with goodbye. Goodbye. Okay. It understood actually Dubai. Yeah, it won't work because I'm accessing the wrong URL. I'm accessing Ionic URL and I need to go actually to MobileFirst Platform URL. So for that, I will navigate to first MobileFirst Platform console, and then from a console I will be able to launch the desktop browser environment. Okay, it will be easier to copy a link. Okay, so this is our app in desktop browser environment. We're seeing that server connectivity was actually successful, was application connected to a server, and we can try to test with goodbye. Goodbye. Cool. So actually we got a translation. We got adieu here, and adieu is in lowercase, just as we expected. Excellent. And basically that's all. This is how I expect it to work. The only thing that is missing is actually the sound. So we need also to play sounds in order to kind of communicate with the person who asked for a translation. And that is actually not so hard to do. So Google has its API. It's working a bit strange. I need to admit that because there are some issues with the browser sometimes. But anyway, we are doing the testing of our application. This is not a production-ready app, so it will be okay for us to use their API. So the idea looks like this. They have a public service that you can use from Google Translate actually. This service is available through Translate applications, so Translate Google.com. And then if you put thing like this, so Translate TTS with some kind of language, for example, English or something like that, and the query itself, like hello, then you will be able to listen to that sound, to listen to hello sound. Of course, I do not have the sound here because I'm using the environment VMware without audio. But if you will launch this, and let's try to launch, why not? If you will launch it on the host machine, you will be able to listen to a sound. So just like this. And the same way, actually, it's working if you will change the language. So if you will put instead of English, French, for example, and put here adieu, so you will be able to listen for this translation, just like that. So the idea is that we need to do that construction and we need to play that sound. That's all. Pretty simple. The way how we'll do it, we will copy this and place inside our application and play sound. So idea will be the following. We will construct the URL where we will have this default line and then actually the French text. Or just text. Yep, just text. It will be, of course, it's input parameters, so just text. Like this. And then we will actually create some variable like a, and using audio function in HTML5, we will try to play this audio like this. If we will be quite lucky, this actually should do the trick. Let's try. Okay, so we have our application here. Let's try to see if it's working. Goodbye. Yeah, so it's working. I heard adieu when it said goodbye. It's working. Let's try something else. Hello, Paris. Sorry, microphone. Talk to me. Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. The Google engine sometimes doing crazy things. For example, this talk to me stuff. So if we will go there first time, for example, if I will open the URL first time, it will work. But if I'm just trying to access this file, this audio file directly from the app, sometimes it's not happening. So let's try with hello, for example. Hello. Yeah, as you can see. There may be an alternative for us for Google API. We can try to use a synthetic engine that is now supported by many browsers, including Chrome, including Safari, and it's also supported by some mobile browsers, so it's actually embedded there. The way how to access it, you need to do something like this. So we will create a variable where we will initialize actually this speech synthesis terms. This is the way how it's called. And then we will need to actually say what kind of text we need to say. In our case, it will be the input value and input parameter that we received text, and we will also need to specify the language. So simply like that, message language equal to something like FR, which will mean French. And the last step is actually to launch this engine to speak our message like this. So let's see how it will look like. Okay, so here's our app. Talk to me. Yeah, so actually it's working. I'm hearing the sounds. Let's try something like goodbye. Okay, well, not perfect, but this is related to translation, and I have no clue why it said it 2 times. And when I changed the place of the words, but this is how it is. So the app purpose is just to demonstrate the possibility, and we won't gonna search for the best free engine in the world. So that's all. On this step we finished with this part, and we continue development including database cooperation in our next lab. Thank you.